Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3. For all you people out there who are fans of the first two movies, I guess this is the movie you've been waiting for. It's good that it doesn't have Thor in it. I mean, if you ever saw Thor Love and Thunder, they did show a clip where he was with the Guardians, and it was really, really bad. I mean, it was... Ugh. So I'm glad that he's not... Well, according to the trailers anyway, he's not there. Okay. But what you do have everybody. The gang is back together. You have Gamora. She makes an appearance in the trailer. You have Nebula. You have Groot. You have the little raccoon. You have Peter Quill, Drax, and the girl with the antennas. What's her name? Mantis. Mantis. Yeah. And you also have Adam Warlock, who seems like he's a pissed off dude with great hair. I mean, I guess maybe because I'm losing mine that his hair looks so good. But yeah, I'm really envious of that head of hair of his. I mean, I'm not a blonde, but you know what? Why not, right? I'll go blonde if it means I can have a head of hair like that. So the trailers come out, and you do have, I guess what everyone's waiting for is just what songs are going to be on it, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be the 70s song, more 70s songs, more hidden gems. Except that, I heard them play a song from Spacehog, right? Now, anybody who's been around quite a few years knows that there was a band called Spacehog, and they had a hit, which is the song that they're using in this movie. It's called In the Meantime, right? It came out in the mid-90s, right? I'm going to say somewhere, I don't know, 94, 97, somewhere in between it, right? It came out around that time, right? I knew that. I was doing a lot of clubbing at that time, a lot of partying. Maybe that's why I'm a little hazy on the days it was out there. And it doesn't quite fit in with a lot of this music that you hear, from previous movies. I mean, a lot of them are just stuck in the 70s. What does that mean? Does it mean that Peter's got a new playlist? He visited Earth and got some Spotify? And yeah, it was on his request list. Or, I don't know. Lord knows. Or maybe you know what? You could only find so many songs in the 70s that you could just relate to space travel. So you run out, you have to go to other decades, right? Lord knows the 90s didn't have anything about space, but the 80s didn't. Pardon my... It wasn't 90s. 90s had something about space, which was this song. 80s really did not. And if it did, Jesus, I was in high school. What do I know, right? Anyway, going back to the movie, or the trailers. Looks like it's going to be pretty good. I mean, Groot is back to sounding like Groot. And from one of the trailers, he actually starts saying, "We are Groot." So his, good for him. His vocabulary is expanding. I'm really proud of him. Probably he's been reading some books. And because what else are you going to do out in space, right? Right, read, expand the mind. We are Groot. I am Groot. Unless he's using pronouns. So, I don't know. You tell me. Gamora is back. And according to the trailer, she's kind of pissed off at Peter for whatever reason. Can't imagine why. The guy seems like a good enough guy. He seems like a pretty good enough guy for a dude who's just just stuck in the 70s as far as his playlist goes. I'm glad he's expanding his playlist. I mean, that's something else. I get a lot of grief myself because I listen to a lot of music I listened to when I was in high school or when I was in my early 20s. So you're looking at 80s, 90s and stuff like that. So, I do get an applaud here and there when I start listening to something that's more modern. But this is not about me. This is about the trailer. So let's keep talking about this trailer, right? It seems like the little raccoon guy, he's meeting the guy who created him, who turned him into the raccoon genius that he is. And he's not too happy about it. This guy looks kind of awful too. Kind of reminds me of this one episode from Star Trek where these guys were stretching their faces. And, you could tell the skin was pulled at the ends. And this guy over here, it looks like it's pulled pretty tight. I'm not sure what he's supposed to be or who he's supposed to be, which is rather disappointing because I used to read a lot of these comics, and for the most part, I know most of these people, unless this character came out well after 90 97, 98. So that's about that time when I stopped buying comics because they started getting too expensive. Movie goes on. You have they're fighting, which is great. They're flying, which is great. There's two villains. You have your Adam Warlock, and you have this weird guy with the stretched out face. That's great too. And you have these aliens that look really obscene. I mean, it looks like body parts from a nightmare. All right. If you're a guy and you're thinking like, oh, I love this body part, and then suddenly James Gunn takes that idea and puts like a million teeth in it, and I'm like, thanks a lot. I don't want to close my eyes because that thing's gonna be there. All right. Not a good idea. Okay, I'm not a fan of that. All right, you can come up with something crazier in the universe. All right, how about just a giant amoeba? Star Trek did it. All right, why not? There's nothing sick about that. I'm not gonna have nightmares watching this. But that's neither here nor there. Going back to the trailer, it looks like it's pretty good. It looks like it's pretty good. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up, and I watched the first, second, and third trailer for this. All right, and I'm happy to say that in watching these trailers, they don't give anything away because I don't know what the hell this movie's gonna be about, other than a frustrated Peter Quill who's trying to get it on with his ex-girlfriend, not really his ex-girlfriend, from a different timeline, and it's not happening. Once again, reminds me back of high school. And yeah, and his dumb friends. It sounds like fun. You always have fun with a bunch of dumb friends, right? I mean, it happens. That's just the way it is. But I would give it a thumbs up. I'm going to watch it. Probably a matinee show. I can't even, off the top, I can't even think of a movie that I would pay full price for. So, yeah, a matinee show on that. PG-13, so I don't have to worry about taking my kid to it. I will probably going to have to explain a lot of things in this movie. Well, like I did the first two movies with them. And, of course, like, I'm not sure how my wife will think about this, but, I hope she'll enjoy it. Otherwise, I will get an earful coming home. Now, before I leave, I want to comment on the movie poster that they have there. And it was like a big brouhaha going on about it about a month ago, where they were saying like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on in this picture. Peter Quill looks a little lost, and everyone looks kind of dumpy. And then you have Nebula in her pose with her arm over her head, and she looks like she has a body of a guy, right? And then you have, I guess, in reading in Twitter, people are just really upset about this. And, everyone's just getting all up in arms about, what's going on here? She's a beautiful woman. Why can't you just leave her that way? And, I don't think it's like that, okay? I think it's kind of something along these lines. Now, I have a theory about this, so please bear with me, okay? It goes something like this, right? After Thanos fought with the Avengers, right? And Iron Man snapped his fingers, and he took out everybody associated with Thanos. All right, he brought everyone back, and he took out Thanos, his armies, his scientists, and everything. Right. So now Nebula, after the battle, she's left with body parts that need to be replaced. Right? Because like she's more mechanical than alive, I guess. Like she doesn't have any real body parts. It's all mechanical. So what do you do at that point, right? You can't go back to Thanos' planet or their headquarters or whatever, because it's either been destroyed or everyone's gone. Everyone's gone. Now, if you remember in the snap, when Thanos disappeared, so did the ships. All of his armies and the ships disappeared too. So, my guess is that Nebula goes back, she needs an arm, and she can't find one because now those laboratories, they're gone. All right, the doctors are gone. Those schematics that they had for her body, they're gone. So like now she's like, well, what am I gonna do? All right, I need a new arm. I need like my torso's been blown away. I need a new torso. And she goes to Earth, and Tony Stark is dead. So Tony Stark can't come up with anything, right? Because she was looking at the Vision, say, oh, he's got a nice masculine body. I wonder if he can make something sexy for me, right? He's dead. gone. Nothing, all right? What's left? You have that girl from Wakanda Forever, Ironheart, right? And the best she could do is that god-awful armor. So Nebula says, screw this. I'm out of here. Earth has nothing for me. There's nothing left as far as Thanos goes. I have to go and do the best with what little I have. So she finds these crappy parts, she puts them on, and that's why she looks that way in the poster. So it's no fault of hers. It's just bad luck. I mean, like, you know, she's out of parts. It's kind of like Cuba, right? They don't have any cars, new cars there. They're just driving around with cars from the 1950s. And they make it run on rubber bands, you know, pieces of like appliances from their kitchen. They're very creative on what they do with their car parts over there. But this is the same thing that's happening to Nebula now. She's just like, she has to make do with what's out there, and what's out there is not that good. So, you know, lay off the hate. You know, the poor girl's been through enough. Hopefully she's going to find somebody. She's going to find like this nail salon in space that'll just cater to her, and she'll look fantastic. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Once again, I'm going to watch this movie. I'm sure it's not going to be terrible. I'm probably going to like the playlist, seeing that they're probably going into a whole new decade. Lord knows, they might even just do some classics from the 80s. You know, like throw in some Cure, some Depeche Mode, you know, something like that. You know, like kind of tease on some Nine Inch Nails and stuff like that. You know, it'll be great. It'll be great for the movie. You know, surprise me. I'm hoping they're going to surprise me with something like this. All right. Other than that, this is my uncultured perspective. Ciao for now.